Yeah, this is a very good move. Sitting from where I am at the moment, my colleagues and I really appreciate that this GCT threshold for small businesses has been moved from $3 million to $10 million. Businesses as well also agree that this has reduced much of some of the cumbersome procedures and tasks that they have had to endure in order to pay minuscule amount of taxes. The government also as well is now benefiting because their operations are now becoming more efficient. I also want to look at other tax measures. For example, GCT that is collected on imported inputs. Whenever businesses in Jamaica import goods from abroad to enter their production processes, these goods, as I know, also attract some amount of GCT. That down the line, they have to know, if they have the chance, reclaim for reimbursement. Sitting from where I sit, if, for example, we're looking at how to expand production, and we're looking at inputs as a cost to our production process, then I put it to you that if these manufacturers, if these processors have to pay GCT on the goods that they import, then it creates a problem as to the volume of goods that they can import. Why? Because increasing costs arise from an increase in the taxes, and this limits the amount of cash flow that they have to spend at a current time. If the government collects this tax upfront and then propose to repay this tax down the line, then the time value of money must come into play. And I put it to you that these dollars, the government can collect them under two circumstances. Circumstance one is if the government has cash flow problems at the time and they need the tax to cover their cash flow instances. Or circumstance two, if the government understands the time value of money and this money is collected by the government and reinvested in something else to earn a profit, so that when the money is repaid in the form of tax returns to these manufacturers, then we would have had a positive surplus. In both cases, I beg to differ that in both cases, the government does not participate in either. As a result, I believe that we should look at these tax laws more carefully in terms of how do we use them to advance our productive processes. More importantly, manufacturing and moving goods from one particular value to another through a process of production. Mr. President, this brings also into question the taxes on fuel. I've been studying Jamaica's budgetary processions for our last 8 years. And what we've realized is that the year before last, the year before that, the year before that, the year before that, there was an increase in tax on fuel. Now, as my colleague Skeffrey said, one of the times when the tax on fuel was instituted, it was done in order to have what we call an oil price hedge, which would have prevented us if there is a severe oil price shock, and that allowed oil price to increase drastically. Since that time, we have encountered two shock-type activities, one from Venezuela and the other recently from Iran. And what we have realized is that oil price did not astronomically increase as how we had projected. Furthermore, Jamaica has not maintained this oil price hedge, and as a result, I believe that we should take some consideration to look at the GCT on fuel. Mr. President, GCT is an important part of the government fiscal revenues. We get most of the largest contributor is the GCT, about 200 billion. Second is income tax, which is about 100 billion. And the MSME tax policy, because now when we are seeing a fall in the unemployment rate as outlined by Statin, and GDP growth has petered off and is not really being engineered. I mean, the government said that they were going to give us 5 in 4, it's now 4, and we can't see the 5, it's still at 1. The only thing that we're seeing, so it's creating a problem. It's creating a problem. So we've been having a fall in the unemployment rate, but GDP growth that is expected we are not seeing it. And as a result, we are facing some level of underemployment due to mismanagement of our economic affairs. In this case, our tax policy now must be used to help us engineer the growth and development that we so desire. And as a result, we have to use this tax policy not only to incentivize production from a static standpoint, but also to influence production from the absorption of innovation and technology. We said it once and we say it before. We want to propose the establishment of a technology and innovation advancement fund, very similar to the tourism enhancement fund that has been providing leverage to the tourism sector. No more than ever, technology and innovation is necessary for a country to achieve growth. Recently, Bloomberg outlined their innovation index that highlighted the countries that were performing well on innovation, and they outlined that this is because they understand the importance of innovation and technology to the modern economy and overall GDP growth that we wish to accomplish. Mr. President, the system of taxes must incentivize companies who train and continue to train, companies who establish themselves as technology-driven companies, and companies who establish themselves as trying to integrate innovation into our productive processes. Mr. President, Jamaica has come a far way, and there is still a far way to go, and I do hope that as a government we can collectively work together so that policies like these can be exfolded and have a greater impact in terms of the objectives that we want to achieve as a country. I thank you.